Before we get to Team List Tuesday, Bunny,
Yes.
this is some exciting news. Well, I think it's exciting anyway. And I want to give the NRL, the Commission, Peter V'landys, Mel Meninga and co, a big shout out to them for what they've been able to do. It is nothing short of a revival when it comes to the international scene. So Kangaroos and Jillaroos set to tour England after 2025 season. So a 22-year hiatus, an Australian Kangaroo tour to contest the Ashes in England. It's being planned for the end of next season. Now, don't read that incorrectly. We have obviously been in England. I was over there in the UK for the tour last year, or was it the year before? No, last year. But this is actually an Ashes tour in England. I think it's awesome.
Mate, this is good to see back. Now, I think one of the big sticking points, I suppose, with this as to why it hadn't come back, because I think there's been a lot of appetite from fans, especially for this for a while, and for old school fans who remember the old Kangaroos tour. It's probably the length of those tours, how long the players were away. Now, obviously, it's a longer season than it used to be. We're concerned for player welfare. So this, I believe, it's 3 tests. Is this series?
3 tests, that's correct. Yeah.
And they're not playing any additional games?
No, and that's obviously down to player welfare. We've got to keep reminding ourselves of that. And the only downside to this I see, but it's just one of those unfortunate luck stories, is that it would, of course, prevent Australia contesting the 2025 Pacific Championships. But, I mean, England's not there at the moment. They're off doing their thing. So, I think it'll still work. Maybe take a little bit of attention away, but it gives those other nations, Tonga, Samoa, PNG, more of a chance to, I guess, shine in the spotlight.
Yeah, and look, it's so hard. Like, you want your cake and eat it too as a rugby league fan, but you got to at some point be realistic about the calendar, and we can't have these blokes playing 12 months of the year as much as some of us would like to watch them play 12 months of the year. They do need time to recover. Like, you talk to any players, by the end of the season, everyone's playing a bit injured. So, like we said, player welfare, this is where it fits in the calendar. I think it's great. Like, just and good mix too, because I think the Pacific Championship is very much a lot of the future of rugby league, but then we've got to have the nod to that old past of it's always good to go over and just beat England at anything, isn't it?
It absolutely is. But you know what I'm really excited about? And this, I think in rugby league for a long time, we've had state of origin as the pinnacle. When you're a kid at school, you either go for New South Wales or you go for Queensland, and you grow up and that's what you want to play. Back when we were kids, well, when I was anyway, it was all about that Australian rep jersey. And I'm loving hearing from the players now, the male and the female players, so both, the Kangaroos and the Jillaroos, what it means to represent the country. I'm sure we'll get all that sort of stuff right in terms of origin, whether we end up having who play what, if you understand what I mean.
Yep.
But the pinnacle of the game is whacking on that Kangaroos jersey, and I just think it's so important that whatever they've done, Mal Meninga has done an exceptional job. He's really pushed very, very hard for a number of years now in that landscape, and the Commission's sat up and taken notice, and we're starting to see the fruits of their labour.
Yeah, that's it. And Mal Meninga, he's very, as the Kangaroos coach, and when you talk to him about anything Kangaroos, he's very passionate. And Mal Meninga is one of those people in the game who he's got an aura about him, and when he pushes for something, you pay attention, because he is a man of influence.
And speaking with some of the players, like the Hudson Youngs and all that sort of stuff, there's work that he does in camp to go back over the history of what the jersey means, who played before them, all that really important stuff. He goes to putting things on the wall so that when the boys are just walking through, having team talks and all that sort of stuff, there's history just plastered everywhere. They get to immerse themselves in this big history of rugby league, Australian rugby league, and I think that's super important.
Yeah, it's a great thing to say. I love the work Mel does at that national level, and making the international game primary. Now, it is week 3 of the Pacific Championships, and the teams are in.
Wow. So Kiwis v Tonga. It's 6:05 p.m. Go Media Stadium. Well, there's kind of no surprises here, I guess. Same 13 for Stacey Jones. Leo Thompson replaces Jordan Ricky on the bench. And for Tonga, Siwa Wong added to the bench, and this is because Keon Kalamatangi has left for the birth of his second child. So that's obviously he's got plenty of reasons to do that. Actually, I might say I'm loving how that's it's been a big issue in sport across many codes, cricket, rugby league, AFL. I'm loving that we are allowing time for dads to be involved in the birth of their children. I think it used to be one of those things where, surely she can do it on her own or whatever. That's not what it's about. It's about sharing and enjoying the moment and being a part of it.
100%. Now, that's not to say women can't do it on that. I don't know if you know this, Bish. My wife, when she was in labour with our first son, she drove herself to the hospital and me.
She's my kind of woman.
Yeah.
Oh, she drove you too.
Drove me too.
What's doing? Did you lose your licence?
No. So what had happened was she was about a week overdue, so we were due to be going for a to be induced the next morning.
Yep.
Right. So it had been a while. My parents came down the night before. We had dinner with them, and they're like all very excited for us. The next day we're going off.
Yep.
So Dad and I did the thing, father-son relationship. We had a glass of wine, then we had a whiskey, and I would have been fine had she gone to plan. But about 11:30 p.m. She just gives me a nudge. She goes, "I think my water's just broke."
Ooh.
And I said, "Well, get out of the bed. Let's not ruin the sheets." But and then she's like, "We're getting up," and I was like, I'm not 100% sure I'm right to drive. Should we call it? She goes, no, it's fine. I'll drive. And
Please tell me you opened the door for her at least. Probably not.
Yeah, she was carrying stuff. She couldn't open the door for herself.
Just stuff.
Her hands were full. No, so yes, it can be done. So yes, but it's good. You don't want to miss it. It's a magic part of life. Becoming a parent for the first, second, or however many times.
I know we're in the middle of Teamlist Tuesday, but quick one from me. I was induced with one of my children and I was fuming, laying in bed watching a documentary on Costa Zoo. And I'm like, please just wait. No, because, actually it was my first child. It was Jack, so I didn't know what I was expecting.
Yep.
But I'm like, I can deal with this pain. Keep going. It's nearly over. It's only got 40 more minutes. We're right. We're good. And I was spewing I didn't get to watch the last 10 minutes. That was a conversation to my dad. Dad, it had 10 minutes to go and this kid decides to come now. What's doing? Anyway, PNG versus Cook Islands, 4 o'clock, Santos National Football Stadium, Port Moresby. Take it away.
Yeah, that'll go off over there. PNG captain Reece Martin is out for personal reasons. Dan Russell comes in. No changes for the Cook Islands. Bish, I was recently over in PNG. We went past the stadium and they are so rugby league mad over there that this
It's a religion.
This will go off. We drove. We got a little tour before we flew back, and the guy that was driving us around took us past the stadium, and it has that old school Coliseum sort of a feel. So that'd be an amazing place to run out for for both the PNG home team, but also for the Cook Islands. What an experience to be there.
Absolutely. And obviously on the extension with them, we touched on it a little bit earlier in the show. I'm surprised that people don't understand, you're still learning a lot of, different comments that are tossed around about, PNG, that's ridiculous, that's so dumb. It all is in, I guess, public interest, isn't it? It's a political sort of move, but the bigger picture, I guess, is to keep PNG safe and China sort of from infiltrating is probably the most political correct way to put it. Zaki Lomax. Now, we've talked about him. Very interesting. I want to get your thoughts. I know you're a Newcastle Knights supporter, but the Dragons seem to be a bit of a free-for-all for everyone to make comment at the moment because you just can't get a decent gauge. And I'll be really honest, 3 times I've gone to text Flano and then I've gone to pick up the phone and I sort of think, I feel really awkward that I'm checking to see if this is true or not, because it's been an absolute free-for-all. But Lomax was initially reported to be unhappy with his move to the wing at the Dragons, but that's sort of all changed in the last 24 hours. We've seen Zach Bailey on Channel 9 talk about the possibility of Zach putting his hand up to play where they want him to. What do you read with that? I
got to be honest. I think probably when he first shifted to the wing, he played his career at centre. That's where he was obviously comfortable, and not everyone likes change to be pushed. But I think if you want to convince Zach Lomax that maybe playing on the wing is a good thing, just cut together a little highlight reel for him of his season he's just had. Like, you played Origin, you're playing for the Kangaroos. Like, have a look around at where you are. You did this on the wing. You're playing on the wing for Australia. He had another great game on the weekend.
The thing is, the last time I looked, rugby league was a team sport. And I'm not sure whether this is a conversation where he's sat down with the new coach, Jason Riles of Parramatta, and he said, hey, this is how we do it here. this is what will happen. And then publicly he's come out and sort of said, well, hey, I'm ready to play here. But back on the 10th of October, on this very show, Run Home, Zach Lomax was asked where he wants to play for Parramatta. Let's take a quick listen to that.
What number do you want to be on the back?
Number 4.
Number 4. That's the one you want, yeah? You want to go back to the centres?
Yeah, number 4.
There you go.
Interesting. So where does he, I'm just trying to think about the Parramatta setup, what it's going to look like next year. Where would he fit? Like, so which wing would you see him on, Bish? And
You know what? It's exactly what I've just said. If Jason Ryles wants him to play halfback, that's where he's got to play. I mean, that's stupid, I know, don't need text messages to tell me, but at the end of the day, rugby league is a team sport. Parramatta are a club that really need to, pick their act up, and all this needs to happen under Jason Ryles. So I'm sort of either thinking one of two things, that Zach Lomax has had a hard talk to Jason Ryles and he said, mate, you'll play where I tell you to play because you've signed here and this is what you're doing. Or there was so much more going on at the Dragons than we care to know about.
Which, in fairness to Zach, he said he didn't want to play. He preferred to play in the centres, but he went to the wing, and you can't say he didn't put in for the Dragons this year.
He's done well. Look at the way he played
stellar
for the Kangaroos. I mean, it's really a no-brainer. We're getting some interesting texts coming in. Ash's test is cricket, not rugby league.
Okay.
From 664. Don't know what rock you're living under, but I believe there's some Ash's tests that have gone on for Australia. Hi, Bish. That's probably the first time Jack has been early. That's Jack, my son. That's from the Watanabe Bulldog. Probably. He's a bit like his mum, late all the time. And Mal has a brilliant aura about everything he does. Well, except one thing, politics. Ooh, that's a bit of a dig. But anyway.
Oh, clean snap 133. All right. You want to say that to Mal's face? After you.
Run at me.
Yes.
Coming up after the break, we have Mark Bosnich. Boz is going to talk all things. Well, as I say, we'll introduce him and then we'll say goodbye. He's coming up after the break.